Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the growth of the Scottish bioeconomy community and its performance against the targets set out in the National Plan for Industrial Biotechnology. I'm going to start off by giving you all a bit of background as to where the targets came from. The National Plan for Industrial Biotechnology, or IB for short, was published in 2013 by the Scottish IB Development Group, who were a subgroup of Chemical Sciences Scotland, the voice of the chemical sector at the time. They recognised the importance of adopting IB technologies to ensure the continued and sustainable growth of the chemical sector. The group set the target to grow the turnover from 189 million in 2012 to 900 million by 2025. This figure was chosen as it was 10% of the Scottish chemical industry at the time, and the group thought it was ambitious but achievable. A target was also set to grow the number of IB companies from 24 to 200 by 2025. The national plan is broken down into key themes, which the IB Development Group identified as being important to achieving these targets. These themes include innovation, industry engagement, skills, biorefining, and a new theme, policy and public engagement, was introduced in the 2019 update of the plan. The Scottish IB Development Group was supportive of the creation of the Industrial Biotechnology Innovation Centre, the IBioIC, to drive the growth of IB in Scotland and the themes set out in the national plan. Achieving these targets and beyond have become increasingly important, with the Scottish Government setting a target for Scotland to be net zero by 2045. The IBioIC tracks the annual growth of the Scottish bioeconomy to ensure we're on track to deliver our targets. The growth has been steady year on year, and looking at the graph in 2019, a large inflection can be seen. A turnover of £747 million was achieved, which is a growth rate of 47% from the 2018 figure. The target set for 2020 was actually 400 million, and nearly double this has been achieved by 2019. We're therefore confident we'll achieve our £900 million target set for 2025. We believe this large increase in turnover is due to an increase in the number of companies adopting IB, from the 24 in 2012 to 130 in 2019. We've also seen more investments into pilot and demonstration scale facilities, with the number of Scottish IB companies attracting large public and private investments. As well as monitoring the overall growth of the Scottish bioeconomy, we monitor the growth in market segments to identify where support may be needed. These market segments include food and feed, materials and packaging, global and specialty chemicals, healthcare, and biofuels and green energy. All market segments have seen a healthy growth in their compound annual growth rate since 2012, as can be seen in the table. Some of these segments are smaller than others, so I'll zoom in on these. I'll start off with food and feed. The food and feed market has seen the biggest growth, with a compound annual growth rate of 61%. It's grown from almost nothing to a small but strong cluster of companies who are very successful in achieving investment. We expect this market to keep growing with the increased demand in sustainable food production as the global population increases. Moving on to materials and packaging. The growth of this sector has been steadily increasing, despite a slight drop in turnover in 2019. This is also a small cluster of growing companies. We expect this market segment to continue to grow steadily, especially with the UK government's focus on bioplastics and sustainable packaging solutions, and the net zero target set by both the Scottish and the UK government. Scotland has always had a strong chemical sciences sector, with manufacturing at Grangemouth responsible for £4.2 billion of exports per annum, second only to the Scotch whisky industry. Traditionally, these sectors have been reliant on fossil fuels as a feedstock, but recently we've seen an increase in the uptake of IB processes by the sector. With announcements by global players like Unilever, who will halve their environmental impact by 2030, we expect to see more chemical companies follow suit to find sustainable manufacturing solutions. To go back to the overview of all the market segments, we can see that the healthcare and biofuels and green energy are by far the two largest segments, and their growth has been steady, as we can see in the graph. This correlates with the applications we receive for funding at the IBioIC, which can be seen in the pie chart. The IBioIC has funded a total project cost of 9.8 million since its inception. 65% of these projects have come from the healthcare and biofuels and green energy markets, but we've seen an increase in projects from other segments in recent years as they grow. Finally, I wanted to give you an overview of how we're going to accelerate the growth of the Scottish bioeconomy in the future, which will help achieve the £900 million target and beyond, and support net zero targets. This is a slide the IBioIC pulled together for the recent submission for £21 million of Strength in Places funding. I know Liz has already given an overview of this approach, so I'm now going to pass over to Carl, Jennifer, Caroline, and the Sugar Beet panel to discuss each of these steps in more detail. Thank you for listening. This is a pre-recording, but I'm present at the session, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box at the side and I can answer them for you. Thank you.